BC. I'm back with some of the pop rock records that I've been accumulating. I mean, there's a ton of records here. I just did the jazz and classical stuff on another video, and now I want to talk about the sort of popular music that I got. I don't know anything about Simple Minds. Actually, I haven't listened to this. Can't talk about it, but I will. Marianne Faithfull's Strange Weather, great. I'm a huge fan of Marianne Faithfull's Broken English. Again, people think, Marianne Faithfull, what are you, crazy? But, you know, this is her torch song tribute to, even says, sort of a take on Lotte Lenya and Marlene Dietrich. And it is. And she's just the person to do it. This is real. I just love this. And I'll be listening to it a lot. There's another Gilbert O'Sullivan record, who I am unfortunately very much a fan of, even though he's some of his, to say like some of his gender views are retrograde, I think is sort of being polite. Some of it is just plain ignorantly misogynist. I really don't even know what to. I don't even know how he got away with it. Some of his stuff, but I'm sorry. I just like his tunes. What am I gonna do? So this one's, you know, this is when he starts to fade a little bit, but still got some enjoyable music on it. Another cool John Martin record. I think this is the one after Solid Air. This is on Island. And, again, highly recommended. Every John Martin album I've gotten so far is just, I really loved. So I'm totally into him. And this is just another, you know, he started to get, he was sort of going down a bit of more of an experimental route on some of the tracks on Solid Air, and he picks that up here. I think he sort of turns away from it a little bit later on. But if you're into that little more far out stuff, Inside Out, really cool record. Split Ends. I've only listened to side one of this. There's another record I've been turned on to that I didn't know anything about. And this one produced by Jeff Emmerich, too. And this I really liked. Not at all what I expected. It was just kind of like, almost had some like Baroque pop elements. Anyway, if you're a fan, you probably know. If you're in New Zealand, I assume that, you know, everyone's like, you know, they're God, so what are you talking about? But I had a couple of those, and I like both of them. So we'll see. I got to spend more time with them. But that's when I found Osana, which is like a Prague band. Oh, I'm not going to remember where they're from. Italy, maybe? So this is pretty whacked. I like the cover. Found this in New York. And it's not great, you know, but it's pretty cool. And the people on it are suitably dressed weirdly, which is a plus. So you can sort of stare at that and go like, yeah, you know. But definitely worth a look. Listen. The new Flaming Lips album, who I just saw in concert a couple months ago, and they didn't play any of this, but they played all their old stuff, which was very cool. Had a great time. They're always fun. But I was digging this, really getting into it. It's different from the stuff they've been doing recently, yet not a full-fledged, I would say, return to the sort of the heyday period of the late 90s and early 2000s. I sometimes think they're stretching back even further to their beginnings on some of these records. You know, going full psychedelic and just trippy. This is weird. It's got narration by Mick Jones, which I wasn't expecting. I put it on and I'm like, holy shit, that sounds like Mick Jones from The Clash. And it is. Harry Belafonte sings the blues. How can you go wrong with this? Living Stereo. The answer is you can't. So what am I going to do? What else can I tell you? I picked this up just to check it out. I haven't really dug into it, so can't really talk about it. I don't think I'm going to like it, but we'll see. It's Grapes of Wrath, by the way, which I think is an early 80s band from Canada. Found the soundtrack to Strawberry Statement, which has got the Circle Game recording by Buffy Sainte-Marie, which I believe was in the new Tarantino movie, which I'm very ambivalent about, like I am about all his movies. But that's a whole other story. We won't get into it here. This is a vinyl community. But it's got a lot of Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young on this. I think even some Young alone? Yes. So it's got Something in the Air by Thunderclap Newman. It's not the 60s and early 70s without that. So yeah, this is really cool. Recommended. Stack Ridge, who I'm a fan of, sort of a, I guess you'd call them prog, but I don't even know if that's the right term for them. Again, I hear it as like Baroque pop, sort of like where Magical Mystery Tour and Sgt. Pepper, they went off at, fixing a hole and music hall kind of music. That's what they went to. But this is another good one from them. Against My Better Judgment, get another Krista Berg album. My first listen on this was not pleasurable. I will give it another chance. We'll see. Son of a Sailor by Jimmy Buffett. This one is very good. Of course, that's a great song. Got Cheeseburger in Paradise on it. So how could you go wrong? But, and a wonderful gatefold there. Another Jimmy Buffett album, just some of his early stuff. This is nice enough. High Cumberland Jubilee, but it really hasn't sunk into my bones. Nicely Out of Tune by Lindisfarne. I like this. I like this a lot. This is sort of in the English folk vein. And what's their other one? Fog in the Tyne, which is really good. But this one is I think equally as good. So if you heard that one, then seek out this one. An okay John Cale album. Kind of expected a little bit more of this. But I don't know. Didn't sound quite as inspired as I hoped it would be. So I don't know if I can say run out and get that just based on the few listens. Here's another one, Tonto's Expanding Headband, which I got just for the cover and the name. You see Tonto's Expanding Headband, you have to buy it. I'm not a huge fan of all this just crazy synths all over the place. But I don't know if I can get rid of this. I mean, it's just too cool. So I don't know if I'll listen to it a lot, but probably have to keep it. Dixie Dregs, who I didn't really know much about, other than vaguely I knew about Steve Morse and what a great guitar player he was. So this sort of surprised me. And I quite liked it. So, really. I mean, just amazing playing. You know the whole drill. Country Joe and the Fish. I didn't expect to like this. And I really don't. It's just not my style of music. I keep trying to love that whole, California, San Francisco 67 sound, and I don't know. Maybe someday it'll click with me. Here's Wilco's new album, which my first listen I enjoyed very much. It's called Ode to Joy, but if you listen to the record, that is a completely ironic title. So, again, first listen, really nice, very mellow, but Jeff Tweedy has not lost it. He can still write some damn good songs. This is Love's For Sale, a reissue. Decent. Not one of their great records, but still it's in there. This is Liz Phair's second record, I think, after Exile from Guyville, which I got, you may have seen last time. This is called Whip Smart. Not as good, but she was still interesting at this point. I don't know what she became, but that's still a pretty decent record from the 90s. Nectar's Recycled. Never heard good things about this, but I figured I'd pick it up because I like Nectar. I'd avoided it for a while. And, it's pretty decent. It's not one of their best, in my opinion, but there's still good music on here, so worth getting if you're a Nectar or Prague fan. In the Split Ends vein, here's Crowded House. I tried this against my better judgment too. But this was nice. Very pleasant. Good songs. That's all I can say, but I'll keep listening to it. And here's an interesting one, Emmett Rhodes, which I guess he recorded all by himself. One of the early records that someone did all by themselves. I think this is even before McCartney and Stevie Wonder started to do that. Maybe not before Stevie, but I'm not sure. But this is a really interesting late 60s pop record. So, dare I call it sort of essential? I don't know if it's the greatest, but it's kind of fascinating to listen to. Songs are very unique, very good, and I keep sort of just putting this on and not completely loving it, but digging it and just like having it play. So Emmett Rhodes, I think that's what it's called too, self-titled. And that's it. I got through everything. Yes. Okay, so until next time, see you later.